Educators face a daunting challenge. The kids they're trying to teach have more technology at home or even in their back pocket than they do in the classroom. While almost 90% of students have access to a computer at home, at school they often share a PC with 2 or 3 other kids. Wireless LANs can bridge the technology divide currently preventing one-to-one computing in all aspects of the curriculum. Wireless LANs are typically 1/3 the cost of an equivalent wired network and can be installed in days, not months, without disrupting class schedules. It goes without saying that schools are budget-strapped. That's why any wireless deployment must have a long operational lifespan with the performance and scalability to match growing demands. It also needs to be easy to integrate with the existing wired network. And of course, it must be secure. These business requirements point to 4 main selection criteria when considering a wireless LAN. They are security, performance, management, and reliability. Let's see how the Trapeze solution stacks up against these success criteria. The traditional thinking about access control has been to give users the same experience wherever they go based on their identity and regardless of location, time of day, and network usage. However, as wireless networks take on more demanding applications, more users, and more devices, that thinking needs to change. Trapeze is leading that change with the notion of dynamic authorization. Instead of granting access privileges once and once only, those privileges should be continually adjusted as users move around based on policies and rules that take into account the time of day, user behavior, and location. Imagine the applications in your school. You could block internet access during a test and then restore it once the test is over, or throttle down bandwidth for those few individuals who insist on abusing it. You can limit network access for visitors only to certain times of day or from specific places, and you can lock down perimeter security without resorting to crude, unneighborly, and mostly ineffective gimmicks such as RF jamming. By leveraging the Wi-Fi infrastructure for voice and messaging, you can avoid the cost and inconvenience of staff cell phone usage and improve personal safety at the same time. Video surveillance, too, now enters the realm of affordability. But for both of these applications to be successful, wireless scalability and performance are essential. It's easy to forget that Wi-Fi is shared Ethernet, not switched Ethernet. But some vendors ignore this fundamental truth and compromise scalability by resorting to a single-channel architecture. Using a single channel violates one of Wi-Fi's most sacred concepts. Using multiple channels is precisely how you scale bandwidth. It's equivalent to using an Ethernet hub instead of using an Ethernet switch, a severe handicap indeed. In contrast, in addition to following all the standards, Trapeze has done everything it can to squeeze every last ounce of bandwidth from the network. Let's look more closely at a few of these features. Most wireless network architectures require all traffic to pass through a centralized controller. But centralized switching causes performance bottlenecks and increases latency for real-time traffic such as voice. With the advent of 802.11n, the problem is more acute, eventually requiring controller upgrades. With smart mobile intelligent switching, Trapeze has the flexibility to do switching at both the controller and the access point on an application-by-application basis. This optimizes traffic flows and maximizes network scalability. With client load balancing, Trapeze maximizes per-user bandwidth by preventing the natural tendency for Wi-Fi clients to aggregate on the access point showing the strongest signal. And with band steering, data clients can be moved to the 5 GHz band to free up 30 to 40% more bandwidth in the congested 2.4 GHz band, which is needed by most Wi-Fi phones and legacy devices. But no matter how good the performance, there's no substitute for good planning and design. Too few access points and you get coverage holes. Too many and you're wasting money. Here Trapeze shines. With its award-winning Ringmaster management suite, Trapeze is the widely acknowledged leader in three-dimensional RF planning, configuration, and management. Most Trapeze education customers run and manage their entire school district completely remotely from a single operations center. Schools have a lot of visitors that want wireless internet access, but getting it to them securely can be a nightmare. Typical solutions require non-IT personnel, such as administration staff, to enter guest records directly into the wireless LAN controllers, actually changing the configuration of an operational network. Not only is that a threat to the integrity of the network, it's also the cause of numerous IT support calls. Trapeze's Smart Pass is much more practical. It's separated from the infrastructure by a centralized database and requires no reconfiguration of controllers. That makes it much safer, easier to use, and more reliable. And because the information is centralized, it's easy to audit guest activity over any time period. Trapeze Networks is the only WLAN vendor with a complete location tracking solution, including asset tracking applications. With location tracking, you can find people, devices, and valuable assets in seconds, saving money and improving safety for everyone. IT can use it to troubleshoot connectivity or simply find a computer. Teachers can use it to find shared equipment, such as projectors or laptop carts. All staff can use it to summon help in an emergency with the press of a button, or simply stop things getting stolen or moved from where they belong. Location tracking leverages your Wi-Fi investment and delivers a return on investment that is measured in months, not years. But all this is useless if you don't have a reliable wireless infrastructure in the first place. Although device-level resilience is commonplace, it's simply not enough. At the wireless edge, typical capabilities include radio auto-tuning and load balancing, as well as dual homing of the access point. While at the controller, redundant power and link aggregation are standard features. Even at the management and security layer, some level of redundancy is often available. High availability demands system-level resilience, not just device-level resilience, and here most vendors have a void. The traditional approach to redundancy is to have a fully loaded, fully configured device ready to back up any other device which may fail. But many-to-one redundancy is inefficient, as 99% of the time the backup device sits idle, and by the time you need it, chances are it has the wrong configuration anyway, because no one has time to test disaster recovery. Configuring redundancy one device at a time, each with a unique configuration, is also extremely complex and time-consuming, and requires constant maintenance whenever there are adds, moves, or changes. Trapeze's approach is different. Think of it as controller virtualization. Controllers are configured as a cluster, not one by one, and they all get a common configuration that allows each controller to act as a backup for any other. This many-to-many redundancy keeps all devices in service so you know they work. This approach accommodates device or network failures, enables instant capacity scaling, and allows in-service upgrades, all with zero downtime. This is simply not possible with other vendor systems. Amazingly, configuration management is also much easier, taking less than 20% of the time of traditional one-to-one or many-to-one redundancy configuration. With Trapeze's clustered approach, a single configuration containing all service profiles is loaded to only one controller, no matter how large the network. After that, the network configures itself automatically. So, in summary, the Trapeze wireless solution offers the best long-term investment for schools and school districts. No matter what applications you deploy today and in the future, the Trapeze Smart Mobile Architecture delivers the performance, security, management, and non-stop reliability needed to make your wireless LAN investment outlast your students.